Hi, today we are changing the spiral contact on a Mercedes Benz Avantgarde CLK 2004 number plate. Before starting this video, there is another video on my channel called Mercedes Benz Steering Wheel Described. I would recommend you watch that video to go over the different parts of the Mercedes Benz steering wheel. Before starting the work, there is a very important note in here. If you don't disconnect the battery when you do the change, you will end up with an SRS error code on your dashboard. If you don't have the right tools to reset this code, it would cost you a visit to the workshop, and usually it would cost you £30 to £50, which is equal to something like 45 to maybe $75–80. Now, prior to starting the work here, I would like just to review the tools needed. I need a 10mm hex, and I need some of the T's, to be honest. It's mainly 25, 27, and some screwdrivers, Loctite, an old pipe, old exhaust pipe, and I got this to keep the screws inside. Now, I'm not disconnecting the battery intentionally because I want the error code to appear on the dashboard. So in the end of the video, we will see the options how to reset this code. However, even if you're disconnecting the battery, do not disconnect the battery until the point where you're just about to disconnect the connectors from here. You would need the battery to get to the screws behind the steering wheel. What I mean by you need the battery, you need to start and move the steering wheel back and forth just to get to the right angle to disconnect the screws. Now, as you can see on the steering wheel, there is a screw there. There is one completely in the opposite direction, and there is another screw in here. So what I will do, I will start by giving myself some, sorry again, I'm using one hand, put the steering wheel back a bit, up a bit, in this position. Now I will start the work with a T30, and I need a 1/4 inch runner for it. It really needs to be thin, otherwise it won't get through the slot. So what I will do, I'll start the car first, move the steering wheel to this position here, so I get more freedom by taking the screws off. Now I have loosened both of the screws. Please note that you don't necessarily have to take them out. Just do it until this is free. And now is the time. If you're disconnecting the battery, now is the time to disconnect the battery. You've loosened the screws. Next we will take the connectors out, so now is the time, if you are disconnecting the battery, to go and disconnect your battery. I will now gently take the front panel out. 3 connectors, the green one, yellow one, and you have the black connector there. Now I will gently disconnect the 3 connectors to free up the front panel. To do that, the model, there are 2 different connectors. One of them comes with the orange part. We'll get to it, which is the replacement one I have. We'll get to it by the end of the video. And there is the one that I personally prefer, which is this one. It's easier to take off. All you need is just to free it from there. I better use a screwdriver, but it sometimes doesn't really need a screwdriver, a tiny screwdriver to free it up. Now, to take the bolt off, I need 10mm Allen key. Some of the bad practices I've seen, people hold this against the body of the car with a bar, would always leave a mark. It's not needed. You need to know the problem there. The problem, they use Loctite on it. And the right way of doing the screw without putting too much pressure on the body of the car, use a heat gun if you can. If you don't have a heat gun, use a hair dryer to loosen the Loctite in here, and always use a bar. So again, like I said, I have the most famous weapon here. It's an old exhaust bar. So I would just put this one here, lock the steering wheel, and turn. It doesn't, just use the help of a mate to hold the steering wheel from the other side. I would always recommend you not use something against the body of the car. Right, so this one now is loose. I can just do it by hand. Now this is very important. On the screw, like I said, or on the bolt, they use Loctite. There is a very important thing you need to pay attention to. When you use Loctite, next time, I would see if I can get more light on this. Always, always be very stingy when it comes to the Loctite on it. Try to use one tiny drop, only one tiny drop on the bottom of the threads on the bolt, because what happens if you end up with any Loctite in here, now when we take the wheel off, if you end up with any Loctite residues here, it will be a nightmare taking this out, because it will make the column there sticks to the body, and good luck taking it off. Now to take this one out, just pull. Needs, you know, some effort in there. Be careful about the connector. Be careful not to hit your face as well. But I will take this one out. Again, I'm sorry, I'm just only using one hand. That's it out now. So I will feed through the connectors from the slot for them in there. Now that's the most sensitive part of the steering wheel assembly. They call it the spiral contact, or SQUIP, and the steering wheel angle sensor. It's two parts in one main sub-assembly. Now you have this part number A20954000145, and we'll take it off in a second. There are 3 screws there. I think they are T10s. I will just cross-check just now and let you know. We'll take it off, and we need to be very careful with it. Now we start by taking the contact spiral out. Gently you go on the groove in there, free it, and then you take it out. It's a connector, you would see what you're dealing with. See, it is a connector. So you're pulling this out. Like I said, make sure that you're not turning this. Now, to be in the safe side, always put something in the guard there, like I use a cable tie. You can use a small pin, a cable tie, you can use a safe lock, whatever available really. Now we take both of those levers out. Don't use this please as a reference. You will see how to know the angle is right or not. Right, so that's my replacement. You have 2 options. Either you buy this part alone, or you buy the whole assembly, as you can see, including, you know, the PCB for the other connectors, and of course the cruise control connector. It's completely up to you. Okay, to put this one back in place, first thing, take this screw out, otherwise it will prevent it from going all the way in, and then gently push it into the where it should connect, really, the other side of the PCB. Okay, so now I have put the replacement one in place. I'll never forget about those 2 back in place. Right guys, I put this back in place. Now the important thing, don't apply any Loctite yet. Don't put this one back in place yet. What we need to do, see the disc we had in the back, or the spiral contact. Obviously and clearly that doesn't turn the wheels right and left. It's only an angle sensor. What turns the wheels is you turning that bar there. Now, you don't want to be trying to drive straight and the steering wheel is squint. This one would get in any orientation you like. You can put it in 90 degrees, 270 degrees, 180. You would look at the tires are straight, you put this one straight, sometimes it's 1 degree, that makes you feel the difference. So before putting the Loctite, applying the Loctite or assembling the whole thing back again, if you're using a battery, if you have disconnected the battery and you're using the battery disconnection method, connect the whole thing back in. Don't put the bolt in place yet. We're gonna take it for a test drive. What I'm trying to do, I'll try to drive straight and make sure that the steering wheel really feels completely straight. Like I said, sometimes it's 1 degree difference. If we're applying the Loctite there, it would be a nightmare if you found out about the problem, because you would need to take the whole thing back off again. If you're not disconnecting the battery and you can reset the error code, then at this point you don't need to connect any of those back to the front panel. Just put the front panel, see how it would look like. You know, it will give you the feeling if it's straight or not, and see if that will do the job. I'm going to take the car for a test drive. I've done this a million times, but it's always hard to get it right because, like I said, you have lots of threats there. So take it for a drive, see if it's straight. If it's not, adjust. If it's straight, then all good, we'll carry on. Okay, so one tiny drop of Loctite towards the bottom of the bolt, as we said, and then putting this back in place. By the way, I just took the car for a test drive, and that's the right alignment of the steering wheel. Straight, go straight. Okay, now all back in place. I'll start the car again. Like I said in the beginning of the video, my intention was not to disconnect the battery. So I would have an SRS airbag error now, just for the purpose of showing how to clear the error code if you don't have a faulty equipment. So start the car now, and straight on, get the airbag problem, SRS airbag problem, straight on. So how would I clear this? I'm using this amazing device I was introduced to, completely up to you. I bought it off eBay for 80 quid. It was 80 quid, which is almost $100 or something. And like I said, the garage I know, which is not local, they charge me 30 quid to clear any code. The local guys here, they're asking for 60 plus, which is, I mean, justifying buying this one. So what I do, it's a great machine, great wee thing this. Benz, which is Mercedes, I guess that's what they call it in America. And I'm going to CLK 209 up to 03 2004, although it's not, but coupe, petrol, right hand. Which one was it again? This one, right? We're going on to the manual scan. That's the airbag. Historic on the top. That's the old one I have. I'm pretty sure I don't have a problem now. That's a historic one. The old one, historic. Nothing present, 2 of 2. The current one's not faulty. I would go on clear. Now I will click on clear here, but I just want you to see what happens in the dashboard. So all I'm going to do now, I'll click on clear. See what happens in the dashboard. It's asking me if, just to confirm, yes. Okay, there you go.